Hello and welcome to Being Rad with me, Robert Alexander Duran. Today I have Valerie Fischer with me, who is an NLP sales guru. I don't know if she wants me to call her guru, but she's had 20 years of experience in mindset work and also corporate selling and marketing. So, Valerie, welcome.
Hi. It's 8 p.m. in the Philippines. I am actually coming to you from Manila, Philippines, from the other side of the world.
Amazing. Do you mind me calling you a guru? 20 years of experience surely qualifies you for that term, but I know a lot of people don't like it nowadays.
No, I'm just a practitioner. So I have 20 years experience of marketing and sales and advertising. The NLP part I have only been doing for 5 years. But yeah, I mean, it's a different time right now. Even people who have only been in the business for 5 years sometimes call themselves gurus.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be in business for 5 years nowadays is quite an achievement in itself. Like, so many people give up at the first hurdle. But I like your humility. Anyone that's like, I'm not a guru, I just practice this.
Yes.
That sounds good to me. Because when people like say label themselves as a guru, it's like, are you really though? Come on.
Yeah.
So, brain science selling. Tell me about it.
Okay, so I mentioned earlier that I started practicing NLP or neuro linguistic programming. So I started practicing it in 2018. And then in 2020, like 5 million other Filipinos, I lost my job. I was already chief marketing officer of a real estate company here in the Philippines. But then the pandemic happened, like everybody else. I don't know how many people lost their jobs all over the world, but here it's 5 million. And then we're going to talk about mindset because this story actually has a lot to do with mindset. So when I lost that job, I was very afraid and I was also embarrassed. I mean, who would want to tell your friends at the time when everybody's afraid and, there's a lot of anxiety that they lost their jobs. So I was very afraid. I was embarrassed. I hid, etc. But then this is where the mindset comes in. I tried to understand, like, this is an actual notebook. I wrote down all the things I have done in the past, the things I enjoy doing, and the things I know I'm good at. And I wrote them down because I said I cannot let this stop me. I cannot let the pandemic stop me. I cannot let losing my job stop me from helping people, because at that time so many people needed help and I couldn't help. I was feeling helpless because I didn't have an income. And so I was like, okay, I have NLP. I have 20 years experience in marketing. And at that time, I also started an e-commerce business. So I put them all together from that notebook. It was kind of like a mind map. And then I said, whoa, this is new. This is, I've not heard anyone who doing that yet. And I was right. I tested it. I tested the idea. I went on Facebook groups, all of those coaches, speakers, consultants, whatever. I tested it. I said, brain science selling, this is what it is. And I was called, pardon the the word, but somebody from else in the world said, your idea is bullshit. I have a PhD in psychology and, this is all nothing. It's not going to work. It's all frou-frou. And for a while, again, mindset for a while, I was like, maybe it's the wrong idea. Maybe I shouldn't do this. But then I said, well, why not try it? And from then on, I have had the brain science selling I've been using for 5 years now. I have helped over 7,000 real estate practitioners, because that's really my background, new business owners, social media managers, everyone who wants to sell online. So if I let that guy get into my head, I wouldn't have been able to help those many different people.
100%. Who is it that you mainly work with? Do you mainly work with people in the Philippines or are you global?
Um, in the Philippines, it's actually Filipinos in different parts of the world because we have a lot of overseas Filipino workers and those who work with Filipinos. So there are companies who get Filipinos, example like virtual assistants or social media managers, and they get me as consultant to kind of manage the Filipino crew. So those kinds of businesses, but the main thread is they're new online. So they are between 3 to 5 years of their business selling online.
That's amazing. And I like how you've managed to expand. So you're still working with Filipinos, but globally. So that's really cool in terms of thinking outside of the box. Can you talk to me about you didn't mention it there, but I checked out some of your videos before, the victim mentality that came from losing your job. And I assume from this guy with the PhD in psychology saying that your idea was rubbish. How does the victim mentality affect you, and what did you do to overcome it?
Yes. We have okay. This is another example. I have a client. She's also with real estate, and she's new. She's been in the cabin crew, so she was in the airline industry for a long time. This is her second career, and she announced it to her friends. And at the first Christmas party that she was at, one of her friends said, "Please don't, please don't come to me. I'm not gonna buy from you. Please don't sell to me." So there was that instant, resistance, and she felt like a victim. She felt like maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Same way that I felt with that guy. But then in NLP, we help people reframe. Okay, reframe. So in a way, like, there's that guy, and we ask the question, where's the evidence? So if you feel like a victim, and you keep on telling yourself, I'm a failure, I can't do this, I'm nothing, I'm worth nothing. You ask yourself, where's the evidence? Where is the evidence that you are indeed a failure? Where's the evidence that you can't sell to this person? If you cannot, and then you ask the other question, where's the evidence that you actually can? Because once you realize that you have answers to the evidence that you can, like she said, I can't sell. I said, there's just one person. That's your only evidence. Only one person who said, please don't sell to me. And to me also, I can't let myself be a victim of one Facebook comment from a guy I did not know. So reframe in LP, we do a lot of reframes. Think about another aspect. Think about another angle to that story. Like, what if, again, like, if I allowed myself to be a victim of that guy, I will not be able to help. There's this real estate sales team that have actually reached 1 billion in sales. That's like hundreds of millions in dollars because it's already a million. So think about, if you're starting to feel like a victim, think of all the people you will not be able to help if you stay that way. They will be the victim, not you.
And do you think that transcends across different situations where people are a victim? Like if you've been raped, I know we're going deep, sorry, but that's happening. Like, would you use the same kind of framework of thinking to get people out of feeling like they are the victim of this great atrocity, and then to be able to turn that into something positive in the future?
Of course, in NLP.
I know that's outside of your realm in terms of what you do, but
Yeah.
my question is, do you think that way of thinking transcends not just across like business ideas, but also everything, essentially?
The reframes, yes. The reframes, yes. For example, the one that you gave, it's not, yes. I mean, I will not say it's, I will not downgrade the feelings, but um, it's not the end of the world.
Hmm.
You can read about. So what do you do? I'm a big learner. I love podcasts, videos, whatever thing that I can learn from, and like identify models. Look for people who have been able to get over that struggle, get over the pain, get over that experience. So it's different things. The reframe is mostly, yes, many people say, turn your mess into a message. That's also kind of that's also kind of the thing. There's also people who are saying, think about what's happening right now, be present, feel the pain, because everything that you're experiencing right now is also going to be part of the story you will tell later, and that story will be able to inspire other people. Of course, it's difficult to tell people this at that moment that they are experiencing the pain. So it's a
Yeah.
different NLP. We will have many other different techniques to manage, because that's also part of what we do: trauma, anxiety, depression, many other things.
Awesome. Yeah, the probably most succinct and well-rounded explanation of that I've heard has come from Tom Bilyeu. And he said, although it's totally right that you feel like a victim, and you might have other people around you giving you social validation for that victimhood, that doesn't benefit you when you are alone. And the most important thing is how you feel about yourself when you're by yourself. So even if you've got a lot of people telling you that it's okay to feel like this, you need to change that, because when you're lying there at night, you're still not going to feel good. You know what I mean?
But I will not tell people not to feel it, because like I said earlier, when I lost that job, I cried, I hid, I did all of those things. But it doesn't stop there. It should not stop there.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't dwell on it for too long. Allow yourself to feel that and then move past it and forward.
Yes.
Yeah? Sorry, didn't mean to go so deep and drop that bombshell, but it's the first thing that came to mind.
No worries.
Talk to me more about how what kind of place do you see content in the sales process, and how has that been working for you, and what have you been doing in
Okay.
terms of content?
I use an NLP concept, an NLP technique that I use for content is what we call priming. So priming is preparing somebody's, mindset, somebody to buy from you. I'll give you an example. When I first started, I created a Facebook group. The Facebook group was only composed of 110 people, 113 people, something like that. And then I said, I'm hearing many coaches do a small group, so like a small group program. I said I should try it. And so I primed. What did I do? Before I announced anything, I shared on that Facebook group, 100 people. I shared about coaching. I shared about the benefits of mentorship. I shared about, I was priming them. I shared about my awards in the past. I shared about the things that I know for like 2 weeks. And then on the stories, so as part of content, stories actually help a lot with priming, because even before you announce it, they see it on your stories. And as soon as I announced it, it was only a small group, but it was like my high end ticket at that time. It was 90% booked on the first 30 minutes, because
Very
they
nice.
were already waiting for it. They were already waiting for it. I was priming them. So that's what content can do for your business, can do for your sales. You're kind of like teasing them, giving them almost everything, but not the actual title, not the actual details. They did not even ask for how much. They didn't even ask for when it was going to be. They just said, I'm in. I said, "Oh, by the way, I'm going to do a mentor mind program only for this many people. Who's in?" Like 30 minutes. So that's one. Content is it's very very good to prepare your clients, customers, buyers brain to accept whatever it is that you're going to sell to them. The second one is to build your brand. To build your brand, especially visually, like you mentioned that your business has a lot of videos. So, content creates that brand for you. The visual, the what people hear, what people see from you, what people feel from you, because branding is an energy. It's a vibe. A brand is a vibe. And the way that you can share that vibe, that energy, is through your content. I always say, like, this is a podcast, so not many people are going to like really see me, but in most of my my summits, my trainings, my live trainings also, I always have my hair down because it's short and curly. It's a short and curly hair. I always wear big earrings like this. And usually I wear red. So it's one of those things. My curly hair, my earrings, or my red top. It's all part of my brand. It's always part of my content. And that's how people recognize you. There was one time when here in the Philippines we used to wear like what do you call that? The mask. So during the pandemic, right? We wore a mask, and then we even wore a cover up, like a plastic cover on our face. I went to get a check from one of my clients, and somebody actually recognized me. She was like, "Coach Val, oh my God, it's you. I finally see you in person." And I'm like, "How did you recognize me? I have a mask, and I have this plastic thing in my face." It's the curly hair, the earrings, and at that time I was wearing white, which is also part of my brand. That's it. Content can do that for you. So those are the two things, how content is important and how it is very relevant to building your business.
How did it feel to be recognized on the street from somebody having seen you online?
It's like it's embarrassing, but I felt like like a little pride that, hey, it works, because in my head I know it works. It should work because I've been in marketing for a really long time. But that was actually the first time that I was able to really that's proof that it works. It's actual proof. Like, it's a group of sellers. They all came up to me and they wanted to take photos with me.
So you're like a bona fide celebrity. That's awesome.
It's just so it's so funny. It's the curly hair.
Have you had any other experiences like that since?
Well, it's become I go live. Face to face trainings already, so it's not like they don't see me in person. There's nothing like that, because that time it was all virtual. It was still in the middle of
Ah,
yes.
so they weren't used to seeing you around. That for all they knew you could have been an AI bot or something. And then they're like, "Oh my God, you actually exist."
Yes.
Amazing. So what does it look like working with your clients? What do you take them through? Where do they tend to start? You said new businesses within 3 to 5 years of
Yes.
starting. Where do you get them to? What's the outcome?
um Especially for my one-on-one coaching, so the training is really more like there are certain, what do you call that, like certain modules that I have. Say for example, NLP, neuro linguistic programming, and Facebook targeting. Really, at the end of the day, it's all about sales. But when you work with me one-on-one, that sales is more, it's not just a one time sale. It's really more sustainable, because when you work with me one on one, I take you through three things. So the roadmap is challenging limiting beliefs, which is part of NLP, clarity, and then peak performance. So the first two is mostly NLP. And then the third one is the peak performance is the sales and marketing in me. So it's kind of like, a coach and a consultant at the same time. So the first two parts is in NLP, we call it values elicitation. Many new business owners just think, especially during the pandemic, they started their business because it's the one that's available. or it's something that their friend is doing that they feel like, they can also get into because it was easy. Not many of them realize that the brands, especially the big brands, if they want to be like that, those are um, built upon the brand values. Many business owners don't do that. Like, who are you as a business owner, and what is it about you? What is it that you stand for that translates to your brand, to the things that you sell? Are you all about, like you mentioned earlier, are you all about authenticity? Are you all about courage? Like me, I talk about courage and learning a lot. And that will translate to your brand. So if you're all about authenticity, for example, then a lot of that will be videos, because that's when they will see you, more of you, and not just the post kinds, the curated photos. So it's really videos, because they can even see behind the scenes. And so that's where you can take your brand. If you say, and also in NLP, we have visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, and gustatory. Those are the five senses. We will identify what you are. Are you more visual? Like you, for example, you are more visual. Immediately you said, my brand is, I have to wear my white shirt. That's your brand. So if that's your brand, what are the marketing strategies that will fit your brand to make it more sustainable? Because if I tell you, uh, Robert, for example, that's your nickname.
Yeah.
If I tell you, hey Robert, you know what? We should go into sports, because that's where your target market is. There's lots of content in sports. That's kinesthetic, and you're visual. It won't last. It will not fit you, and you will resent me. Because many other marketing strategists will tell you the next, big thing, the bright and shiny object, the new one. But if it doesn't fit your brand, if it doesn't fit your values and your strengths, then that's not gonna work. I used to have what do you call this? A podcast of my own, which actually kind ranked here in the Philippines at that time. But then I'm not auditory. I'm really more visual. So I couldn't, I can't even listen to myself. Like this conversation, for example, I I get squeamish. Like I don't want to hear myself. I'm not that. I'm not that. And it's not sustainable. I wasn't able to really, do that for a long time. So that's the limiting belief, and then the clarity. You have to tell me what do you want? Because many business owners, they don't actually know what they want. They don't know how to start because they don't know what they want. So that's the first one. And then when we have those first two, then we can create, like the peak performance is based on what are your strengths? What are you really good at? What do you like doing? What do you enjoy doing? That's what makes it more sustainable. So that's why my clients, it's a what do you call this? It's an immediate result. Sales is a result because of those. I have one client that when we were doing the clarity, the second portion of the roadmap, I said, okay, what are your goals? So communication goals and sales goals, of course, business goals. How much do you want to earn for this year? This is a brand based in Canada. Jasmine Satache is the brand. And I asked her, she said, last year I only made last year I only made a little less than $50,000. Said, okay, what do you want for this year? And she said, 50,000. I said, no, let's make it more, because you're doing this coaching with me, and if you're only gonna do 50,000, it's not gonna do a lot for you. So I said, okay, let's do 100,000 for this year. This was January 9. Okay, this was January 9. We started early. By March, he was already at 65,000. Like 8 weeks after our coaching.
Very nice.
I just called her 2 weeks ago to kind of like, update. She was already at 200. And it's not even the end of the year yet. So
Amazing.
she doubled our target, and it's not even the end of the year. And she was also even invited to Dragon's Den. It's like a Shark Tank of Canada.
Yeah, Dragon's Den is what we have here.
Oh yeah, okay. So she was invited to that. She didn't get in, but she was invited. Like, it was really a big deal for her, because now she has something to offer. She has something to pitch to them. And that's a byproduct of really knowing what you want, being very clear with what your brand values are. The sales will just follow.
So being in alignment.
Yes.
Has her success come, the majority of her success, has that come from being in alignment? Was she out of alignment before? What was she doing before, and what's she doing now that's so night and day?
The night and day was, she didn't know what to say. We're talking about content. She's like all over the place. She would post something just because she thinks it's cool or cute or it's new or she saw that from somebody, but it's not rooted in a plan. It was like just all over the place. There was nothing about her brand, nothing about the values, nothing about her customers. She didn't even know who her customers were. She didn't know also, like, many things. Content. We did videos, so we started doing reels. That's one of the tactics that worked for her. We did email marketing. So I was like, who are your previous clients? Why are you not talking to them? That's low-hanging fruit. She's like, what do I tell them? Okay, let's create, let's write up a whole nurture marketing. It was only, and this is so good. She only had 15 clients from the past. 9 of them booked. 9 of them booked like $2,000, $5,000 from her. So that also helped. Many things. Many things that, she's also very vivacious. So I said, your brand is called Jasmine's Attaché. How come Jasmine's not there? How come people don't know who Jasmine is? Why put your name on a brand and not show your face?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Yes, so those things.
Oh,
thank you.
So if you could go back and speak to your 20-year-old self, knowing everything that you know now, what would you say to that person?
Oh, you're going to be a star. You're, my 20-year-old self just graduated from college. And I'm just going to tell her, whoever you will meet, the things that you're going to experience, the jobs that you're going to have, everything will make sense. Those are all, little connections to what you will have in the future. Like right now, I invested in an AI company. It's an AI Business Solutions, the name of the company, which has nothing to do with what I used to do. But it's all because of the people I met and the connections I made. And so I'm going to tell her, even if it looks weird, even if that person feels strange, that's okay, because they are going to matter in your life.
Great advice. I had so many people try and tell me to see the bigger picture when I was 20 or so. And I was like, no, I'm not doing it. And I wish I'd listened sooner, because it makes so much sense. But that's the thing. We can't go back. Retrospect is 2020. But as long as you come to where you need to be, doesn't matter if it takes a little longer than you might have wanted it to. Not really.
Mm-hmm. We all have different timelines.
Yeah, and like that's the thing about like the victimhood of you coming out of that job. Would you say that like a lot of feeling the victim mentality probably came down to some comparison as well, because you'd have been comparing yourself to all the people that still had their jobs?
Oh yes. Oh yes. And I'm conscious of that. Because I practice NLP, I am conscious of my thoughts. Sometimes we feel like, like this is what they say, life happens to us. Life happens for you. It's all about being aware of your thoughts. I catch myself comparing myself to other people, like those who I think are more successful, are have better jobs, have families, live in bigger houses, have better businesses, have millions in their bank accounts. And I'm not going to lie and say I don't do that. But then I also remind myself, but wait, what is your definition of success? Is that the same as theirs? That's the reframe. What is the definition of the life that you wish to have in the past? Isn't this the life that you wish to have in the past? So why are you going to want their life? You don't want their life. This is the life that you wished for yourself. Another reframe. So just I catch myself. So be aware of your thoughts. Be, protect your zen.
Yeah. And be cognizant of what you can control.
Exactly.
At the core of everything is your actions, your decisions, and your perceptions.
Exactly.
So if you find yourself feeling a certain perception about someone else's life that you think that you might want, how can you look at it a little differently?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Valerie, this has been an absolute pleasure. As I wrap things up here, can you let the viewers and listeners know where they can find you and what exactly you're offering and what they can expect?
Okay, so I will only share two ways to find me. Number one is I'm on LinkedIn, Valerie Fischer on LinkedIn. And the other one is because I want you to try my AI assistant. So this is the virtual version of me on my website. You can ask my AI assistant any question that you want about NLP, about marketing, about sales. So the website is www.valeriepfischer.net. www.valeriepfischer.net.
Awesome. And links for those will be in the show notes and below on YouTube. Thank you very much, Valerie. Like I said, an absolute pleasure. I'm sure we could do a part 2 at some point. I'd love to have you back. And for everyone watching and listening, keep being rad.